Well, Posesi's queuing Rogue, so I think that means he thinks it's his best matchup.
Well, either way, I mean, he has to put every deck with a win on the board. Tiebreakers no longer matter. This is the final stretch. Posesi is on the Rogue for the win against the Mage. The weapon does not seem like much, but, you know, it's a 3-2 that challenges pretty much every minion that comes down. Removes some tempo and some chip damage coming from the dagger over the course of the game, which can matter. Luker knows, again, how do you win? You put the pressure. All of it.
Jaina and Alex Straza both in hand. That is now means survival is important. Swamp Ooze Arcanologist Dragon's Fury is how to survive. He may have a chance here.
Yeah, and Posesi not looking like he's got a very good hand for the sake of completing the quest. The sap is going to come in handy at some point, I have no doubt. But this isn't looking like the hand you really can afford. And this reminds me a little bit of the debate about, you know, how to play Warlock. I know it's going to sound like a weird tangent,
Go for
but
it.
Sometimes you just go Kobold Librarian, coin Kobold Librarian, and you punch them in the face for 3 turns in a row. And that's worth a lot. And this is what Luker is doing, effectively. Just saying, you know what? I found my 2 drops. They deal a lot of damage. Let's just go. And he's got his opponent on a 6-turn clock. So I think Bluegill has to come out, as bad as it feels, in order to just stop this.
I think he can wait a turn, maybe 2 turns, but what he can't do is have things chilling on the board. Like, if Luker hadn't gone with this route, you could just play your Wax Elemental and then, you know, set up for bouncing it, or you're saving mana just chilling around. You might not even do that, but now you've got to actually respond at some point. He did wait 1 turn, might wait 1 more, but he has got to do something soon.
I would have liked to see a ping here from Luker instead of playing the Secret. Minor difference, really, in terms of how it matters. Because on turn 5, you can easily ping Secret. Usually, you don't have much of anything else to do. So I think buying that extra bit of damage could have been of good import. But he does pick up a 4-drop, so never mind.
No, you're right, though. I think he missed a point of damage.
Yeah, I think it's just 1 damage. Hopefully it doesn't come down to it for him. But
looking at this hand, 1 point of damage could get it over the line. So probably fall a little bit short in the damage department until Jaina. But yeah, always worth not missing points of damage.
Now the question is, do you ever play a Bluegill to remove the 3-2? Because this is the biggest source of damage. Like, that accelerates the clock by a ton. Is the problem for Posesi, and he's nowhere near quest completion. That Glacial Shard just not doing enough.
And do you sap the Eater just because what are you using sap on, or are you saving that for something big later?
Well, what are the bigger minions in the deck that could come out? Skulking Guys would be one of the bigger ones. Medivh could come out.
It's not very good against Alana.
Certainly not. I'll tell you that much. You could sap a Doomslayer if it's trying to stall you. Like, you get a board where it looks something like Blizzard, Doomsayer, keep the sap, and then you buy yourself an extra turn. And that's the Sonya Shadow Dancer, 2 of them. Not necessarily what you're looking for the most, but that does mean that the board will eventually generate a quest completion all on its own.
Yeah, and there's nothing that Luker can do about that as we get back onto real time. And I guess he can slow things down. Maybe a Doomsayer now would be quite a good way to do that. That means you can fire lands on 7 and actually own the board again.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, he does have the Firelands, exactly as you said, to keep himself alive. He has the double Dragon's Fury, probably the most consistent card at clearing out the board. And here we go.
Yep. Despite the fact that you've got Doomsayer, it doesn't matter. The Sonya play still works.
And you've got a second one in the back end, so that second board will also get the job done. So again, Sonya coming in to clutch and save the day for Posesi. He's got a real shot at this now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why he didn't panic in killing those other minions. He gave it 2 or 3 turns before he killed it off with the War Leader, the Ooze, early on. But now he's had to do it, and you're bound to find something sooner rather than later, and he has.
A bit of health gain there for Luker with the 1-6. Not really what you're looking for the most when, if we have to be honest here, as on average, what ends up happening is 1 health is not going to make all the difference in this spot. If it hits 3 times, then you're above the threshold of 30. So hey, multiples of 5 don't work.
But yeah, it's the worst card he could have imagined. Nearly. Firelands is definitely worse than it used to be. There's a lot more cards now with Battle Cry, bring a minion in, or Battle Cry, do something that is really good.
Yeah, for sure.
With that, the stats take a hit.
Now, Posesi going to recognize, well, okay, I don't have enough in my hand to really close out this game, even if I get a bunch of 5/5, so I'll take it a little bit slower. Develop on the board substantially. It's not slow enough that the mage won't be under pressure.
And he's saving this Sonya for board clear later. He's saving it so his 5/5 chargers can repeatedly run themselves into Medivh or whatever big stuff they need to. The dragons, if Dragon Caller Lana comes down, he can take them all out with Sonya plus a 1 minion.
Luker here, probably hoping he never ever hears of a ice block from Dragon's Fury in his life. This is probably the biggest problem he might run into, is if this Dragon's Fury does not give him what he wants.
How many is he playing? We got the list there?
I think he's on a... Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I think he's on a mission to just counter pressure. So by doing this, he's forcing trades, as he can, reasonably expect to be able to go face.
Yep. Sonya number 2, not backed up by a charger in hand, but the boar on the table will get the job done.
Off we go. Will value the card draw from the Cold Light as well, piled up on top of the rest. Sonya really, again, shining in this deck.
Yeah, she's been really good today. She's pretty bad in tempo modes where people first tried her, but yeah, she's good in Quest Rogue. The charge Sonya thing. This deck has been honed kind of secretly almost, because on ladder nobody plays it particularly, but in tournament scene this is part of the anti-control strategy that's been going around. So the top players have been honing this deck, I say secretly, sort of off your screens where they're playing these cups off. Most people won't stream it because they're giving away disadvantage. So this is a pretty well-tuned deck now.
And of course, Posesi values having the charge in the hand rather than on the board, as that simply can't be frozen. So avoiding the Blizzard shenanigans or the board clears will try to keep the board alive in the hand. And Luker still with an ice block in the deck. Does not really get much of a luxury here. I think he'll be forced to pull the trigger. Will squeeze 1 extra HP out of this Blood Queen Lanathel, but let's see what the Dragon's Fury yields. And, of course, it is going to be a 4 damage spell.
You thought it was a 3 there because he started nodding before we saw it, but yeah.
Yeah, you might think it's just not a thing that clears. Does pick up a 2/7 with Taunt, though.
Okay.
Fair enough. I mean, he's alive. He's got the possibility of tar creeping if he wants to.
He could use his face if he wants to as well. Depends how long he thinks the game's going to go before the Atiesh is no use. If you don't get both uses out the Atiesh, it doesn't really matter.
It's all about the sap. Right, like what happens when... Because he's dead next turn, he's assuming. He has to assume that he's going to be taking lethal damage on the following turn. So protecting himself against...
Sonya shenanigans. And saps. So many S's. And so the block is going to go down.
Jaina not sufficient. If a charger is kept in the hand, that is, then even a freeze does not do it. He'd have to go for Arcane Artificer plus Blizzard. I think that's what his game plan is at this point. Is your Arcane Artificer, and you just pray that you land a Blizzard off the draw.
He's got to find a way, though, to generate 15 damage to face at some point.
Yeah, it's going to take a while going through these guys, but hey.
I think his plan was don't get a 1/6 from Firelands.
I think the other plan was also just don't run into Sonya for the second game in a row.
That's also true.
That's another thing that...
You've beaten her once.
Right. It's one of those cards you just can't afford running into, and I believe this is going to be the scoop after the Artificer tries its best as Dragon's Furying for the maximum amount of survivability. He knows there's at least 5 damage coming in, and funny enough, the 1 health from Lanathel keeps him above dagger hit with a charger if there's no bounce. 7 is better than 6 for that reason. A taunt minion again would come in handy. Not quite the right form for that taunter, and the board will in fact get the job done.
Wow.
Oh man, what a game.
What a game, because Luka managed to apply some early pressure, but never managed to keep it long.